Let's start with a strange comparison. Drilling for oil and raising capital. It sounds weird, but stick with me. It'll make sense, trust me. Picture the old oil fields. You'd pick a spot, drag out tons of equipment, drill a hole straight down, and hope you hit a gusher. Sometimes you waited weeks. Most of the time, you packed everything up and moved on to the next spot. That one well at a time approach, that's exactly how most people still raise capital. One pitch, one room, one gatekeeper, and you just hope someone says yes. It's slow, it's exhausting, and honestly, it wasn't designed for founders. It was designed for investors. So let's talk about how we got here and how you can get out of this old cycle. Over the last 50 years, the whole system evolved around investor convenience. In the 70s, capital was controlled by private clubs of wealthy families and bankers. In the 80s, early VC firms formalized pitch meetings. In the 90s, angel groups popped up and created pitch nights. And once the internet arrived and startups exploded, VCs needed a filter. That's where the 5 to 10 minute pitch really cemented itself in the culture. Accelerators came next, Y Combinator, Techstars, and demo days became the big finale. Then universities, incubators, and economic development groups copied the model. The pitch became step one, not because it's the best way to raise money, but because it's the way investors can get through a giant pile of deals quickly. That's the truth behind the pitch culture everyone now treats as sacred. Okay, back to fracking. Fracking was invented in the 1940s. Nobody paid much attention until the 90s when engineer George Mitchell said, "Why don't we mix this with modern drilling?" He combined the old method with new tech, and the entire industry changed almost overnight. That's the idea here. Old laws, new tools. Put them together and suddenly you're playing a different game. The law that governs capital raising, the Securities Act of 1933, was built for a world with newspapers, radio, and maybe a few TV channels. It wasn't built for the internet, email, podcasts, streaming, social media, or AI. Over time, new exemptions appeared, Regulation A, Regulation D, Regulation CF, under the Jobs Act. But the basic structure stayed the same. What has changed is the world around it. Today, you can reach people instantly. You can tell your story at scale. You can build an audience long before you meet a single investor in person. That's where earning capital comes in. You're taking the old legal framework and pairing it with modern communication tools, just like drilling plus fracking. So here's step one, flip the script. The traditional approach is a push model. You chase investors. You pitch endlessly. You hope someone important gives you 10 minutes. And the hit rate? 2%. Investors see hundreds of deals. They fund a tiny handful. And most of those fail anyway because they're unicorn hunting. So instead of trying to be one of the 10 companies of VC funds out of 400, you flip the math. Reach 10,000 people with your story. Let 2.5% of them become investors. That's 250 investors instead of 10. Same odds, better pool. And you get there by creating pull instead of push. Here's what pull looks like. Instead of chasing investors, you build a community of supporters. People who like what you're doing. People who believe in your mission, your market, your story, and your team. Most Americans don't think of themselves as investors, but they definitely think of themselves as supporters. So you start by identifying the people who already share your values or care about your problem. Then you give them enough information, clarity, and confidence to become investors if they want to. Think of it like a funnel. Awareness, interest, understanding, action. Supporters first, investors second. To make that shift, we need to package our opportunity clearly. We use the 4 M's. Market. Do they believe this market actually exists? Mission. Do they connect with why you're doing it? Management. Do they trust the people running the company? Money. Do they understand the return and feel good about the risk? If those 4 make sense, supporters turn into investors. Then you create an offering package. That includes the right disclosure document, clean entity and corporate docs, real financial projections you can actually explain, a subscription agreement so people can legally invest. In the old model, you're scrambling to build this after someone shows interest. In the new model, you build it up front so you're ready the moment your campaign starts. The next big idea is alignment. Different people understand different types of investments. Your Uncle Louie probably doesn't understand a safe or preferred equity, but he understands lending you money with a clear repayment plan. On the other hand, an experienced angel wants equity. So you match the security type to the investor audience you're targeting. Then you choose the exemption that fits the marketing approach and who's allowed to invest. Get those aligned and the offering becomes clearer and more attractive. Here's how the old path looks. Pitch. Maybe get interest. Pray for a term sheet, half of which you don't understand. Enter due diligence. Spend months answering questions. Negotiate terms you didn't set. Hope it closes. Here's how the earned capital path looks. You do the work first. You build your financial model, your plan, your offering, your legal structure. Then you launch a digital campaign using modern tools. You run multiple closings as money comes in. You keep control the entire time. It's a rolling raise, not a one and done. The benefits are big. Scalability. Reach thousands instead of dozens. Efficiency. One campaign, many potential backers. Access. You can now tap into trillions held by everyday supporters, not just the narrow slice of angels and VCs who fund 2% of deals. Control. You decide the terms and set the boundaries before anyone invests. And if you want to study how this all works, the SEC actually publishes fantastic public reports. The Office of the Advocate for Small Business Capital Formation releases annual data on fundraising trends. Angel groups publish their investment patterns. It's eye-opening, and it shows exactly where traditional capital goes and where it doesn't. So let's zoom out. The internet has transformed transportation, banking, media, communication, how we work, and almost every other aspect of our lives. But the way most founders raise capital is still stuck in the 1990s. Earning capital changes that. You stick to the rules embodied in the Securities Act. You use modern tools. You reach the right people. You skip the gatekeepers, and you create a clear, compliant, attractive path for supporters to become investors. If you're willing to do the work up front, you can build trust at scale, convert supporters into backers, and meet your company's capital needs without begging for meetings or waiting for permission. That's the difference. That's the shift. That's earning capital.